Hello, my name is Rhonda Kitchens. I'm the librarian here at Big Bend Community College, Wilmsey Benatti Library. I am so glad you're here with me today. We're going to go over today something that is pretty much true any library that you're going to go to out in the academic world. Almost all of them have a list of their databases. So what I'm going to talk about today is what is a database? It will sound like I've said it 1,000 times, and really I've tried to think of different ways to say it, but it ends up sounding like database, database, database. But these things are very important. You actually have been using them every day and may not even realize it. I'm going to show you the anatomy of a database, because sometimes if you do a search from our library catalog, or if you just keep kind of trying different databases, this will help you kind of find your place, kind of anchor in what you're looking for, so you'll be able to use almost any database anywhere you land. I'm going to briefly talk about CRAAP, and that is CRAAP, and its relationship to research and search. Keywords, truncation, phrase searching, and Boolean logic. Yes, it sounds crazy, but yes, we're going to talk about that too, briefly, but I think importantly. Oh, and I didn't change this thing because I'm only going to show you 10 databases, but I think it's going to be quite enough. After I get through with like what they are, what they look like, how we search them, the 10 part is going to be pretty rapid, but in a way, I just want to show you the breadth of what we have and the things that they can do. First, what is a database? Well, you use one probably frequently this week. Netflix is a container of digital records, movies, documentaries, true crime, all sorts of things. Hulu. It also, like Netflix, has some original series. It does its own work. Pluto TV is free. You can download it on your phone. All of these look pretty great on your phone, by the way, but this is actually better on your phone than anything else. And it also contains a lot of different TVs, TV specials, documentaries, true crime, movies, all of that. Plus, sometimes it has the very exciting Fireplace channel and a variety of other very odd things. Sometimes it has 007 only channels. It's kind of quirky and fun. But you know what? It's really hard to use. Hulu is harder to use than Netflix. Netflix is kind of beautiful. It says, hey, where you been? These are the things you need to look at. You watch this show, so I really think you'll like this show too. And it's kind of linear in a way that we expect. Hulu, in a way, is vertical. You go across the top and the bottom and finding things. It does have a search. The Netflix search is a little bit better. Sometimes this is hard to find. The breakdown of the different types of objects, formats is a little awkward, but you can get to it. Pluto, chaos reigns, my friend. Chaos reigns, but it's really got some cool things in it. But you really have to dig, you have to have some patience, and you have to think of different ways to do it. Sometimes I have to use my phone app to find the TV channel I want to look at. But it's free, and it's got a lot of quirkiness, so I accept it. It meets my needs, and that's what all research should be. The library database has library databases A to Z. It has 89 different singular databases, but they mainly have a few publishers. And once you sort of get the feel of them, you'll sort of understand what they are when you're looking at them. We have Gale resources, we have ProQuest, we have EBSCO, we may be getting some more, and we have on our library catalog something it's called Ex Libris Primo. And for the purpose of this, think of these as places I will research, and I'll understand what they are when I get there because I know what the anatomy of a database is. It's going to be a search or searches. Sometimes there's basic ones, special ones. Sometimes there's a publication search. Some of these databases they're pretty much all, to some degree, multimedia now. You're going to have articles. You're going to have articles, some scholarly articles, magazines. You're going to have newspaper articles. You might have some interviews. You're going to have some videos, audio. You're going to have a little bit of everything in each one of these packages. Their type of what they are may overlap with some, or some of them may be the only place that, say, has a certain magazine, like Scientific American will be only full text here, but not there. It's going to have suggestions to cite. It's going to have a way to email, download. You should know if you're getting full text or can get full text. It should also likely, if it's a Netflix type thing, give you some keywords or abstracts, give you some idea what it's about. Suggested searches or sources, if it's a real friendly, loving, integrated database, images, video, documents, podcast, audio, a little bit of everything. And when we're doing our search, a lot of times we need to sort of cradle it and launch our search, and also look at it and analyze it before we use it in our actual work. If you're looking at your search question, currency is going to be a really big part of your search. See for currency. Relevancy is driven by your problem or thesis statement. I was just helping somebody with Instagram and reality, and we kind of had to do some keyword searches and figure out what she was trying to write about. But it came out kind of as Instagram and like false perceptions, and maybe things like Photoshop or filters were different keywords or ideas we had to use for her search. And because Instagram is somewhat new and changing frequently, the currency is probably the past 3 to 5 years. Accuracy and authority, we need to know who wrote them, why they wrote them, what their value is, or do they have like expertise, do they have a background, are they associated with a certain organization, institution, movement? We need to know these types of things, and ultimately also we need to know the purpose. Is it to persuade, inform, change our minds? Is it to emotionally sway us or intellectually sway us? Does it tell us what to think? Does it give us an idea of what happened before so we can make decisions? What is this awesome information we have in front of us? From there, some inside information, you can match some of these values: currency, relevancy, authority, accuracy, and purpose to your rubric. The rubric is inside information. This is how your assignment lets you know what's relevant. That is, oftentimes when an instructor is grading your paper, they're using a rubric that already has assigned pieces. If you have so many pages, have I selected a scholarly article? Do I have 5 articles using the library resources? This is going to let you know which items may be more relevant. Oftentimes, a professor will tell you, I don't want anything older than the past 5 years. I will only accept things from this journal or this area. So that also is very helpful in your search. Make sure you understand what your assignment needs. Make sure you know what your research question requires. Very important to blend those together and then go forth into the wonderful world of databases to do your research. But before you go there, let's talk a minute about different ways we can search. When we're doing research, there are different ways we can use our words and our search and our keywords to make them more effective. Now, probably one of the gold standards is going to be truncation. You're like, I have never heard of this word. Okay, it's going to be when you use an asterisk, oh, sorry about that, an asterisk behind a word. Most of its common pieces. Suppose you have nurses, you'll stop it right here, because then ES, ING, and ED, nursing, nurse, and nurses will be searched with this one thing. So these are great for, we were looking at faults today with a student. Faults, falsifying, and truth and untruths and different things like this. We can use the truncation at the end to pull out more words. Trauma, put the asterisk after the A, will also search traumatic and traumatizing. If you have a search where you're not having a lot of things come up, or you really feel you're missing something, this might really fix up your search. Now, phrase searching helps cut down on the noise. Put quotation marks around the phrase and it searches as one phrase. Very beautiful. And otherwise it would pick them up from all over the place but not together. And a phrase is important, so search your phrase. Boolean searching, sometimes you may not think it's something you need, but you know what? Google works on the same principle. You can use the word and, red and rose, and this will get you all the places they overlap. Or will get you roses and red and a whole big large piece. Now this is really great to use when you have a word that means the same thing, but you don't want to search all these different synonyms 5 different ways. And you can put in words like advertising, brand, and marketing all together to look for those types of persuasive techniques. To get rid of something, use the word not or a negative in front of a phrase. It'll get rid of it. If you're doing a search where there's too much of one topic over another, or a phrase or something that's messing up the specificity, I can't say that today, the genuine um, thing that outcome you're trying to reach with your search phrase, get rid of it. And this is how you do it. And on most cases, you could do it in a database and stay in your search results and just keep manipulating them until you have what you need. It's a beautiful experience, trust me. And finally, the 10 databases that we're going to look at today. I'm going to start with broad ones. When you're doing a research, I do recommend you start out with the broader research pieces like ProQuest and Gale Access. Will both cover things from astronomy to zoology. A lot of our things are cross-disciplinary. Sometimes we look at health in a psychological way, sometimes we look at it in business fashion. So sometimes when you search with these bigger databases, it gives you more words, keywords, it gives your search more depth and breadth, and more importantly, sometimes it gives you more ways to narrow it down. Imagine that your search is so large that you just need another way of looking at it. And these two broad searches will actually help you out. And then go into some of these specialized pieces. Guess what? These are not going to help you for everything, but I want you to know they exist and they all have some beautiful pieces about them. And at some time in your time at Big Bend Community College or other colleges, you may need to use them. So I'm going to send this form to you when this presentation is over. I'm also going to ask you for feedback. But here, we're going to jump right in to the library website. Start out at bigbend.edu. Go to Academics to the library. I just want to show you something for a minute. As somebody who's built the website, and I worked on it over the break and changed it substantially. Every day when I come in, I use Google Analytics to see what links that people use so that I can move the links around and place them where people are going to most easily find them. And you'll see our databases A to Z is quite well used, and it's right here at the top. Now, if you go to Harvard, University of Washington, Eastern, any of those places, guess what? You will have an A to Z database. It's an alphabetic list of databases, and it will be in your library. In the most part, you can search them in some very broad ways. It's not going to be extremely specific, and I see people try to do that, and I'm trying to help out that aim, but it's just not possible, but I'm working on it. We're going to have subjects. So if you're looking for some business databases, if you select this, instead of the 89, you're going to see a smaller list, and we're going to place best bets at the best possible ones that we believe will help you out. When you mouse over the I, it tells you what it does. And right now, you'll see some of the databases have lengthy descriptions and others do not. They will all start looking like this slimmed down version because at the end of the day, I want to put larger explanations for them so that you could do a search. So let me clear the filters. This isn't really going to help you out. I don't believe this is going to have any meaning for you, but the search for databases may. For instance, I was working on the African American History database, and I found out that it actually has a section on the Harlem Renaissance. Sometimes when you're doing literature search, that's hard to find. So I put in some of those terms, so if you came here and searched, you will find it. But so far, I'm not going to be able to get every search you may do, but if you do something larger, like the concept of environment or science or something like that, and if it's not here, but just a little bit more specific, you may be able to find it. Just a little bit more specific. Sorry about that, guys. So here we have A to Z. We have 89 databases, but today I'm going to go over 10. I'm going to go over these 10 so fast. So buckle up. Here we go. The first thing I'm going to go into is ProQuest. You can look these up alphabetically as well, but the popular databases, and by this we mean the larger databases, which will cover most of your needs, we keep right over here. If you use this section, probably from the bottom up, you'll find things that you need most expeditiously and in most pleasing manner, I believe. ProQuest is huge. It could be academic. It could find you some popular magazine articles that are kind of simple and easy read, and newspaper pieces that are up to date. So today I'm going to look at global warming, but I'm going to put it in parentheses, in quotes, and these quotes will search it as a phrase. I'm going to use and, so I'm going to find out where this overlaps. I'm going to use the word glaciers for this search. I'm going to use the truncation. Do you see how here glacier, glaciers, I don't think it's going to get any more specific than that, but means I can search both without doing two searches. I could also get rid of them, or I could also put or and add iceberg. Do you see what I'm saying? Here, first of all, tell it you're looking for full text. You can pick the dates as well. Hit search, and you're going to get a very large 3,000 search results. You're going to get a lot of things to go into. If you click on the title, it will bring you into the records. It's going to have the site here that's right. Copy and correct. Do not copy and paste. Most of the times it needs to be corrected in terms of the URL, capitalization, and some italics. So if you need APA, go up here. If you need MLA 8th, go right there. And someone just tapped in. Hello, Colton. This is Rhonda. I don't know if you're here yet. I don't see you signed in. I'm doing a recording, so let me know when you're here, and I'm just going to keep going. Just wanted to show you, we had some people dropping in. I was going to record this anyway so people could see it. So global warming, when you look over here, you'll see the citation. It's going to have related items. That's right, it makes it very Netflix-like. Oh, you like this article? Then you may also like these. It also has search and index terms so that you could do a little collection of them. Precipitation is something that's sometimes used for rain and other types of weather events. You may not have thought about that. So it's a great place to pick up those words that you might not know. So I showed you how to cite it, how to find the full text, and like I said, it's going to be a little rapid. So you can see it's a very beautiful database. Just make sure you tell it full text. I'm now going back to databases A to Z to go to database number 2. That is also in the popular databases section. Again, this is going to cover pretty much astronomy to zoology. It's going to have a little bit of everything, but you'll see it doesn't look like you think it should. The value of this is it takes our business, our academic, our OneFile, our criminal justice, culinary, arts, diversity studies databases, and puts them in one spot. Now, why would this work for you? Guess what you can do? From here, you can build your own database. If you're working on something about health and medicine, community health, and how it relates to a criminal justice or corrections issue, you could build all that. If you're working on something like business startups and things, and what makes a person who does really well at that type of thing, you can include that in psychology. You're working on pop culture and history. You can select the pop culture database. You can mix all of these up in any way you need to do so by just selecting them. Also, if you want a huge monster search, you can search them all at one time. I'm putting global warming inside of quotes and glacier asterisk, and we'll see what this does for us. So I can show you what the search results look like all together. It's going to let us know up top. Remember, ProQuest had this to the left. It's going to show us magazines, academic journals, books, news, images, and videos. And you'll select the section you need. If the rubric calls for a scholarly or peer-reviewed article, make sure you select this area. Also, just like ProQuest, select full text, so what you see is what you get. You can also filter and change your results over here, publication date, and so on. If you click on the title, It's going to take you into the article that is full text. You can actually have it play so that you can listen to it if you'd like to do so. Some of these are short and some of them are quite lengthy. You could see the word count on the first page. When you go up here where you see cite, it's going to give you a suggestion for the citation. You can change it from MLA 8th to APA or Chicago as you need to do so. The rule with the cites: copy and correct them. You could use this database or the database you make from this link to do almost anything you want. It's also very useful. I kind of think about this one in a way like the Hulu of the examples that I gave you previously, but it does give you related subjects. It doesn't have the same ease the ProQuest does, but it's very effective. It has different journals and newspapers, so to use them both, you can increase and your ability to find information for your research. So it also has more like this, but you'll see it's much briefer, and it doesn't quite have all the details that the other database does. Pretty much between these two databases, and I'll take you back up to databases A to Z, pretty much between this and this, you could write most of your papers that you'll be working on at Big Ben and also your speeches. Also, opposing viewpoints is very useful. It's very easy to use. I'm not going to talk about it here, but I'll show you something slightly similar. The next thing I want to show you in our very fast-paced, just glimpses at the database, I want to show you Business Insights Global. You'll see it doesn't really look entirely like the others, and what it does is quite different. When you're going to be searching for company information, company histories, investment reports, different sorts of financial ratios that you can use to make decisions. The SWOT reports, which are awesome. If you know anything about them, it may be that sometime in your work you may also have to write one: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And they provide analysis of all sorts of global companies. You can look for them alphabetically. Places, of course, like Amazon is in here, and when you look at them, they will come up on your computer, and you'll be able to review reports, data, statistics, and all types of things you could use for investment or company research if you're going on an interview or if you're providing some sort of case study or trying to solve something about a company. These are extremely useful. So that's just a basic overview of that database. That we're, again, moving fast. So I want to move you next to college skills. It's here. On this particular one, this is about providing you with information and test preparation. You'll come in and sign in to register the first time you use it, and then it'll start keeping a hold of your results. But this has all sorts of things for academic support, classroom success skill, information literacy skills will be how to do some research is here, for example, but it also has a center, and you're going to be able to do math, English skills, spelling, writing, success, career preparation, basic computer skills, internet, and Microsoft Office basics. So if there's something in your life that you don't quite have a grasp on and you want to improve your skills, this will be the place to do it. My next database will be Culturegrams. Culturegrams, I'm just going to dip into it real fast, and you'll see that it has a very, very different approach to doing research. Now, this one will primarily be something you'd pull out. I've seen some of the assignments in the world language classes, or where you have to write things about a country you haven't been or do a speech. But this, instead of you putting something in it, it pulls you through. So if you're doing something United States, you're going to click on this. And then it's going to say what place, you select that. And then it asks you what you want to know, and it provides you with histories, timelines, the flag, and all sorts of other information you may need for a presentation. It also includes world countries, international information, apparently also sports teams as well. So the next one we're going to go to is ebooks. It's down here. Ebooks is actually fantastic for research. It's actually difficult now that we read an entire book for research. We kind of read books for pleasure, and pieces of things we pull together for research. Things have changed a little bit. And this is our ebook collection. And this is awesome because if you're having a panic attack at 2 in the morning and you feel you need book level research or a little bit more narrative information or history, it is here for you to find. I'm just going to type in global warming. Again, I'm putting global warming in quotation marks so that it searches as a phrase. And now I'm going to go into the books. I'm going to select full text. I think pretty much they all are full text, but just to make sure, because I like to see what you see is what you get. You're going to see a little bit of information about the books, where it was published. You can also change the relevance to see the newest or do something else in terms of authors. If you're looking, say, for history, this looks like a suitable book. Very short introduction. And one of the things I see people get lost on here, they go for the full download, and it's not necessary. If you do that, though, sign in, and you can create your own sign-in. This has nothing to do with your library sign-in at all. But all you need to do is go to the PDF, and sometimes it has an EPUB text that you can look at. You can even read this on your phone. You select Search Within, and I don't know why I search rich. I'm not sure it'll come up here, but let's give it a shot. But you can find words or phrases and kind of get a little bit of context, and then just go to those pages where that information appears so that you can just read the chapters of the sections that you really need to do research with. And that's going to cover most of what you need to do about it. But I would say if I was doing research and beginning it, I would go ProQuest. Then I would hit ProQuest, opposing viewpoints, and ebooks. That would cover so many things for you immediately. But I'm not here to talk about 3 databases. I'm here to talk about 10. So the next one we're going to look at is global issues and context. This is a beautifully laid out database created for your success. In general, what is here will be full text, but if we see a full text box, always fill that in. If you don't know what you want to write on, this has 665 issues for you to choose from. It already has sections set up for your success. Let's look at agribusiness real fast. This part here, if I had to explain it best, is a thinking person's Wikipedia. That is, it has an editor. It is peer-reviewed. It's not a peer-reviewed article, but it does have editors. So it has a lot more value than Wikipedia. But for your brain, when you're trying to understand the background to something, it's going to give you all that information you need to write your report. It's going to have academic articles, magazines, and newspapers all pulled apart. It's only going to give you 3 or 4, so make sure you understand there's 62 of these or 10 of these. The featured content are a lot of times some of the emotional, especially viewpoints and featured contents are kind of the emotional calls to action that just make sure they have enough citing and some facts mixed in with them. But sometimes these are beautiful, motivational, and make for good, help you write some beautiful pieces or do awesome presentations. It also has images and all sorts of other things wherein you could put together a topic and related topics that take you in another colorful, fully supported world of all the types of information you may need to do your research. The difference between something like this and a ProQuest is the number of places that this database pulls from is more narrow, and ProQuest is more is broader, includes some specialty, different types of publications, academic, scholarly, industry reports, and it has a lot more detail to it. But this type of database is highly usable, very colorful, and you should be able to get a pretty good, like 3 or 4 different pieces to use for your research pretty immediately. It's a really good one to use when you're running out of time, for instance, which does happen, by the way. I personally wait to the last night to do something, so I could never say anything to those that do the same. My next one is going to be Newsbank. This is going to be very different from everything that we just went through. Again, this is a really fast overview and glimpse at just 10 of the 89 databases we have. This Newsbank is specifically newspapers. Newspapers are going to have a different type of research that you may need for your work. First of all, it's going to be more current. It's going to be topical. This, you can kind of look at different items, and you can see how people write about or respond to different topics in different areas. If you wanted to see how it plays in New York City versus Texas, this is going to give you some idea. You can search nothing but letters to the editor. You can search for current news. You can search for things only in your state. You'll just be able to put in this search, and you'll have more search options here. And it even gives you a map for you to choose from if you'd like to do so. And you can also go through the things that are there. And we do have the Seattle Times collection, which is more specific to Washington if you only want to look at those. So newspapers, they're going to be up to date. The only thing quicker, I think, is Twitter. And I do believe Twitter searching is also awesome, but it's not a database, but it is a great way to look at your work. Second to the last, we're going to look at the statistical abstract of the United States. This used to be something in my years as a librarian that I used almost all the time. If you're doing a paper or something that needs statistics, or you need to know how many people voted, how many TVs are in single homes, like single family homes, or all sorts of different things. A lot of this is pulled from the government and other places, but you'll be able to look for them here. And you can also do a search. I don't know if this is going to work here, but I'm going to give it a shot. It's one of my favorite searches because it's changed so much over the years. Yes, we can look at tables of things like pet ownership and how much people spend on their pets and things of that nature. This, if you're writing a business plan, could actually be very useful, as well as doing a presentation about people's changing attitudes towards pets in their homes, and do they spend more on their kids or pets? So this is the kind of place where you could actually look for that type of information in data tables, where you yourself can manipulate and use the information and statistics as you see fit. So it's not something telling you how things work, it's giving you the numbers wherein you can fill in that kind of, extrapolate that kind of information. So it's really an important thing for you to use. I think specifically when you're doing presentations, statistics are very powerful. And the very last thing I'm going to look at is the US in context. We actually have quite a few history collections, but this will be one of the colorful databases. If you have not figured out what to write about, let's check this one. It has 381 ideas. It has things about war, religion, biographies, events, cultural trends, countries. And it has a beautiful search where you could start putting something in. I don't even know if this is in here. Oof, I'm trying to type fashion. We could use a word like fashionable, and we could see how certain cultures, places, history, that type of thing, including burial and belts and buckles, all sorts of things, including eyeglasses, but things in history that are pop culture or deeper with wars and other sorts of conflicts. You'll be able to do research in this particular database very fast. It's full text. It's easier to use. When you click on the title, it takes you right into the piece. If you need to cite it, it has a citation button right here. Select MLA 8th or APA 6th edition, and you'll be able to use it. So, Colton, are you there? I kind of see you're not. Anyway, I'm not really sure you're there. So I'm going to wrap up this video. It was really rapid. I think probably if I had a real title for this, I would call it Taste of the Databases. It's a rapid gallop through 10 with some ideas about how to do search or think about research evaluation. If you ever have any questions, I really, really hope that you will. Oh, I see you, Colton. I'm going to hand you something here in a minute too. to fill out. Was this helpful for you? There's a chat box. Oh, there you are. Yeah, I know you just came in the middle, and this is a really fast presentation. Again, the taste of the database is pretty much. I'm going to send you something to fill out, especially if you have an instructor, if you watch this. So don't go away, because it's going to take me a few jumps to find that link. So I'm hoping this was helpful. If you ever have any issues, please ask a librarian. I can make a video for you personally. I can reach out to you on Zoom. I can see you in person in my office. I can email you, whatever it takes to help you out with what you're working on. I really want to do that. So, Colton, I'm going to find this because you were here for a substantial portion of this presentation, though I believe I may have confused you where you came in. But fill this out for me, especially if you have a professor. I need to let them know that you attended. So